I had never seen a human in person, as they say. I had heard stories about their amazing feats and seen photographs. It was apparent, from my study, that humans travel in bonded pairs, and more often in large packs. It wasn't until the human came aboard my own ship that I found out just how wrong I was. One human was assigned to bunk with me. Only one. Very odd, I thought. A solitary human? I had never heard of such a thing. Still, when she arrived, carrying an enormous rucksack, I was unsurprised to find a much larger human being walking in her wake. Then it looked at me. I only ever heard stories, legends and myths about the star-crossed race of transdimensional beings my people called. Well, I can't say it in basic, but I suppose it translates to the ones who burn. The moment I saw the creature's eyes, I knew. It was humanoid, but certainly not human. Alison was quite pleasant. I would even say I enjoyed speaking with her. When I was able to come close enough to her and the creature she had inexplicably bonded with. Needless to say, I only pretended to sleep in my bunk in our shared room. In actuality, I slept in the break room every night after Alison went to bed, because I was too scared to close even one eye with that creature with the burning eyes nearby. It simply stood over her bunk, wings appearing out of nowhere to shield Alison's body. It never spoke to any of us, but I could sometimes see it whisper in Alison's ear. Shortly after the creature delivered its messages, sometimes Alison would have spontaneous, brilliant ideas. I was too scared to ask her about her friend, but Kazav, having all the tact of a blundering herd of bilgejaps, asked Alison about her strong, silent friend. He didn't know anything about the legends of my homeworld, the stories of how the Burning Ones fell into torment, scarred beyond recognition by a war too large to properly describe in words. They had disappeared from the universe, without a trace, millennia ago. I wondered now, where they had been all this time, and why they would return. Alison didn't seem to understand Kazav's question. She didn't seem offended by it. In fact, it was more than that. I don't think she even heard most of what he said, as her stoic companion leaned in and whispered in her ear. Alison turned to Kazav and said, "I truly don't know what you're talking about. However, there was an ancient legend on Earth about guardian angels, but they aren't real. Perhaps your entertainment console is mislabeling human fiction as fact. I certainly have never seen one, and I travel alone." Kazav turned 6 shades of pale green, made his apologies, and ran as fast as his tentacles could take him. I was dumbfounded. I finally made eye contact with this guardian angel and whispered, far too quietly for a human auricular organ to detect, "Can you hear me?" The angel, I swear by all the stars, that monster smiled at me. Then he and Alison left. It was a single galactic standard day later that our ship was attacked. I was walking to a shift change with Alison when the hull was blown open. Then I understood her human myth of guardian angels. Alison leapt away from the pull of the vacuum. She should not have been able to lunge as far as she did. It was her guardian angel. His wings blazed to life as he thrust her forward, just enough that she was able to catch a handhold. I do not believe any other species would have been able to see and process the details of what was happening in real time. My kind, however, evolved in a world, tumultuous and dangerous, perhaps more volatile than the human homeworld, which is widely considered to be one of the more dangerous life-sustaining planets in that sector of space. My eyes are quick, and I can see all the Guardian did. He touched an emergency cache, and the hinges shattered, dumping its contents into the hall. A lifeline tumbled. In the low-gravity, vacuum-breached atmosphere, in an upward arc towards the Guardian's charge. Alison called the line. I watched as several of our crewmates were sucked out into the vacuum. I would have shared their fate if it were not for the human and her angelic partner. The human woman, whom I was too scared to speak more than a few words to, threw me the lifeline and yanked me to the safety rail. I caught hold, clinging for dear life, and praying to all the gods I would be spared. The park boarders left with the breach in our hull. Their advanced guard wore heavily armoured vacuum suits and carried repeating plasma rifles. Our ship, a simple merchant vessel, would not withstand an assault of such ferocity. Alison's electromagnetic boots activated. I yanked her body down to the deck. She had a lifeline fastened to her waist, but she charged the boarders, unarmed and unafraid, howling inaudibly over the screech of the void. The first park raised his rifle. Allison curled back her arm, winding it like a giant spring. The gun was almost level with her body. She swung. The Parg took aim, and the plasma sparked inside the containment unit. Her fist collided with the Parg armor. It was not alone. The Guardian had joined her assault, his massive hand moving in sync with the tiny woman's fist. The armor breached. There was an electrical failure in the soldier's boots. The impact of Allison's dual strike knocked the brigand off the deck. They collided with their team as they entered the breach, and the entire boarding party tumbled backwards into space. Allison tossed a hull breach canister from her left hand. The device's lasers activated, scanning the area and then extruding a thin nanomesh to seal the hull against vacuum. Gravity went back to its normal 0.7 rate. I was one of 2 survivors from the breach site that day. 3 if you count the Angel. After the chaos was over, I laid in my own bed. I watched the Angel overshadow Allison with his wings as she slept peacefully. My courage peaked. I spoke. Why? To my amazement, the Angel responded, his voice rich and resonant but still quiet. When we lost all hope in the universe, we found purpose. We do not guide them, as their legends lead one to believe. They guide us.